Welcome to the Let Good Things In show. I'm your host, Amanda Acker. I'm so happy you're here. At the Let Good Things In show, we talk all about second chances, resiliency, following your intuition, and even music. Listen to hear stories of hope and to be inspired. Remember, you are stronger than you think. Let's dive in. Hi, my amazing humans. Thank you so much for tuning in today. On last week's episode, I talked about my experience, the last part of my experience being incarcerated and giving birth and my second adoption experience. And then at the end, I kind of teased the next part of my life, being after being on that cloud of being free again and how quickly I crashed into another storm in my life. But before I jump into the story for today, I just want to remind everyone to make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of the Let Good Things In show. And also, if you're loving this podcast, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm also working on getting a couple other sites up and running for reviews to be left as well. Another thing I wanted to let you guys know is that October 16th is the official launch date of my coaching business, and I haven't revealed the name of it yet. I have only revealed that there is a framework, and it's going to help you develop a better relationship with yourself. This is very dear to my heart because me 10 years ago would have loved to have someone to help her through, what she was going through and to get over that shame and guilt that she was so desperately wanted to. So that is why I created this, because I don't want any of you to have to go through decades of your life, any more decades of your life, feeling like you're not good enough and that you can't have the life that you imagine, because you can. And that is why I'm launching the coaching business October 16th. And another thing is, if you join my Facebook group, which is called the Let Good Things In show, you will be then invited to the launch party on October 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come join us over there, and I'm so excited to be launching my coaching business and really getting out there and helping people like you to see their worth and that they can love and accept themselves and also trust themselves. All right, so enough with that. So let's dive into the story. So I'm out of jail now, and I had just given my daughter up for adoption. And, I was going through a lot of emotions that I didn't really know still how to handle. I didn't know how to handle sadness. I just wanted to mask my sadness still, even though I had just spent almost an entire year of my life locked up, didn't have any time with my son over that time. But I just didn't want to feel the sadness anymore. So when I got out, I didn't really have anywhere to go. My mom's apartment, wasn't really an option because of where she lives. Like, she's not allowed to have guests for, a longer period of time. So, but I did have a bed. I got into a 3-quarter house and intensive outpatient therapy for addiction and mental health. So, but I couldn't go right away. Again, I was stuck in that limbo like I was when I got, turned myself into jail, where I knew that I had somewhere to go, but I had this unknown time frame as to when that was going to actually happen. So I stayed with my mom for maybe a week. I don't really remember. It could have possibly been a couple of weeks, but the pressure was on. I was living out of a trash bag. I didn't have anywhere to put my things away. Like, it didn't feel like home. I just felt like I was almost like a drifter, is what I would say I felt like. So I ended up staying at the house where, through the adoption agency. I may have mentioned this last story now that I'm saying it again, but yeah, so I was staying there, and it was awkward because I wasn't pregnant anymore, and I just felt like I was taking advantage. Like, I didn't feel right being there and using those resources. So eventually I started to hang out with an ex of mine, and I would, go and stay the night and then call last minute to the house and tell them that I wasn't coming back. And I was getting myself in unnecessary trouble. I was risking the only roof I had over my head, you know, for nothing really. And so I didn't really know what I was doing still. And luckily they never kicked me out. And luckily I finally got to move in to this 3/4 house. And I knew I would have a roommate, and I was super nervous about it because even though I had been immersed in other women for months upon months, I was still uncomfortable meeting new people. I'd never, even to this day, I would say I'm not like, I love to meet new people on Zoom, but in person, for some reason, I have this nervousness about me. And I was starting to become really shy because I didn't know if she would like me or whatever. But come to find out, like, she was never really there. And I don't remember what happened, but she ended up staying my roommate the whole time. I quickly moved and had a new roommate. But so I get in here and I finally had like an apartment. So the way this 3/4 house was set up is it was a 1 bedroom apartment. It had a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. And they were nice. It wasn't in the greatest part of the city, but I felt safe there. And I had a closet to put my clothes in, and I had space and a bed that was so comfortable, and I felt like I maybe found somewhere where I belonged for the moment. And then we go to intensive outpatient therapy, and I was going for both mental health and addiction because I didn't want to start using again. And so far, I hadn't. And I remember going there, and there was all these people, and we were sharing stories, and I started to feel really comfortable there, and I started to make friends, and then I started dating people who were in the program, and that just did not turn out very well, and I was constantly under a lot of stress. Like, I never felt, even though I thought I found somewhere I belonged, but it would quickly turn into, I would hear people talking about me. I would, be called into the office for some sort of thing that was happening within the building or whatever. I just always felt like I still didn't fit in. So I started doing things to get people to like me, like drinking. And, when I went left for the weekends, I would drink. I would, find a way to legally do drugs. I was doing Suboxone. Like, I was just not going the straight and narrow path that I should have. It's like I because I just wanted people to like me still. I just wanted my roommates to like me. So if she was doing something, I wanted to join in. I wanted to be cool. So I would drink and then, sneakily tell my story about my weekend to friends and, all these things that I was doing, but at the same time going to NA and AA meetings knowing that I was dishonest. And I would always feel like a piece of shit. But I was, doing what I needed to do to get by, I guess. But looking back, it still makes me kind of angry that I was doing those kinds of things. Because if you go back to me now and we fast forward to me as I am today, that goes against all of my values, all of them. Being dishonest is disgusting to me. And there I was doing it over and over and over again. Whether it was lying about who I was dating or lying about the fact that I was drinking or doing Suboxone or whatever it was, it just didn't feel good to me. But I kept doing it out of fear that if I started to, not only out of fear that people wouldn't like me, but out of fear that if I did actually stay sober and I did actually start doing things on the straight and narrow, that I would be somehow rejected, that I wouldn't be cool, I wouldn't be liked. So I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually, through this process, I started to really lose touch with myself. And I started fighting with people. Like, that is not me. Like, why? People were outside talking about me one night and I overheard someone say I was a hoe or something and I called her out. I told her, if you were going to say that, come up here and say it to my fucking face. And I remember the adrenaline I had because we weren't allowed to smoke in these apartments, but me and my roommate at the time would just hang out the bathroom window and smoke. So I'm sitting in the bathroom, I'm upset. I believe something had happened with somebody I was dating or a rumor. I was just crying and mad and stewing and smoking this cigarette. And then all of a sudden I hear chatter outside and I just got real still and I was just listening and I heard it. I heard my name. I heard them talking about who I was dating and that I was a hoe and I was this and I was that. And I don't know what came over me, but I couldn't take it. Couldn't take the fact that people were talking about me when all I wanted was for them to like me. It was so devastating to me. I was trying so hard to be cool and liked, and it all backfired. It all backfired. So I yelled down there, if you're going to say that to me, say it to my fucking face. And the woman rather responded and, said that she was going to come up there and beat my ass. And I remember bolting, then I was scared. I've never been in an actual fight, to this caliber in my life. So I'm like, oh great, now I'm going to get the shit beat out of me. Not only am I feeling worthless, but now someone's going to just beat me and make me in physical pain and emotional pain. So she came up and she got in my face, but she didn't hit me. She never hit me or anything, but it was really fucking scary. Okay, I had gone through almost an entire year in jail, part of that in Maine population, and I never once was threatened. And here I am in a 3/4 house, almost on my own, and now I'm getting into fights because Amanda can't help but please everyone around her to the point it'll backfire because I'm trying to please this one and this one, but if I please this one then I have to hurt this one and vice versa. If you've ever been there, you know what I mean. It's impossible. It is an impossible thing to do. And I would, tell lies to get information and I was doing all these really bad things. So at the end of the day, I feel I deserved that because that's how I was acting. Whether I wanted to admit it to myself or not back then, the names I was being called and the things, not all of them, I wasn't out there being a hoe necessarily, but I wasn't treating people right. I wasn't living life the way I wanted to live life. And instead of having that wake up call right then and there and changing my life, I didn't. I said, fuck this, and I need to find a way out. So I dedicated all my time and energy into figuring out how the hell can I get away from this situation because I can't handle it. It wasn't let me figure this out so I can survive here and stay here and follow this path that's been set out for me to have a good life or a better life than I was living. I'm going to completely blow it up because I don't deserve it. That's all the story I'm going to give out today for this episode. But in the next weeks, I'll talk more about the end of that experience and, some of the relationships that I wound up in trying to desperately escape my reality instead of dealing with my reality, which was a trend in my life. I would just abandon things. I'm afraid of abandonment. Honestly, there's still a part of me that is. But I was the abandoner. I was always quick to leave people if I sensed they were going to hurt me. I would sabotage relationships out of fear. I was making mistake after mistake after mistake, but I never saw it. And if I could pull a lesson out of the experience that I just told you about, the lesson that I would learn from that would be that, like in previous episodes, I needed to stop following everybody else. I needed to pick a path that felt right to me and stick to it. I needed to deal with things because I could. Yeah, I was scared to death that woman was going to beat me up that day, but I was willing to take it. because maybe in that moment I felt like I was strong enough to handle it. I don't know. Hard for me on this one. It's a story that I haven't told in a really long time. So it was bringing up some emotions, and putting myself back in those situations is not always easy, but it's a part of who I am. It's something I've been through. Just like your stories. They make you who you are, but they don't have to keep defining you or your future. If I was still the same Amanda that I was back then, I don't know where I would be right now. If I was even still the Amanda that I was just 2 years ago, I might not be here. And I want you to take a moment and reflect on where you're at right now. And is it where you want to be? Is it headed into the direction of where you want to be? Or are you stuck somewhere where you don't want to be? And figure out, if you are stuck somewhere where you don't want to be, figure out where you want to be. What is it? What is that thing that you want in life? Are you single and are looking for someone to spend your life with? Are you looking to start a business? Are you wanting an advance at your job? An advancement? A promotion. A promotion at your job. Like what is it? Figure that out, because once you do, you can take the steps, the small baby steps needed to get you there by breaking it down and reverse engineering it, so to speak, because you can have it. I'm not that person that I just told you about. It was like I was telling a story of somebody who told me a story. Honestly. But that was who I was, and this is who I am. That woman back there who was suffering allowed me to become who I am today. It doesn't always have to hurt. If you're spending more days crying than you're laughing, it's not okay. Reach out for help and really start to reflect on what you actually want for you in this life. My affirmations for you today on this episode are: I can trust myself to make the right decisions for my life. I can trust myself to make the right decisions for my life. I have everything I need already. I have everything I need already. Say this one with me again. I am enough. I am enough. Thank you so much for tuning in today. On next week's episode, I will talk more about this area of my life. And we're getting close to present day. Maybe not timeline. Maybe not on like a yearly timeline, but we're getting there. We're getting close to my present day. And I'm so excited to get there with you. And thank you so much for listening to my life's story so far. And as always, remember, you are stronger than you think, and you can have the life you imagine, regardless of your past. Make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of the show, and I will talk to you all soon.